Welcome to our session, Making the Most Out of Your Trial. This is how to save time and prep and feedback when growing great writers. We are three of us here from Writable. We have Becky Mack from Customer Success. I'm Kara Gann from District and Customer Engagement, and we have Tess Ritchie from Marketing. So we are thrilled to have each of you here. A couple important details we want to go over before we get too far into our session is that we will be posting this recording at Writable Academy. And the resources that we are sharing today will be available to you at this bit.ly address. And I believe one of the ladies will be able to put that in the chat for you. And we also have a place where you can make an appointment for us to meet with us. And we have our email address, hello@writable.com. Again, we'll be using the chat today. So all of your questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And as one of us is speaking, the other one will be answering your questions. So today's agenda will be what is Writable. Becky will take us through what is Writable and creating a free teacher account, how the trial works. Then Tess will be jumping in and talking about the steps to successfully using Writable. And we have a large piece of resources, professional learning opportunities on our Writable Academy page. So we will be sharing all that with you too. So Becky, what is Writable?
Yeah, thanks, Kara. So welcome. And I just want to take a minute and say thanks to all of you for joining. It seems like some of you are near and a lot of you are far that are on today. So we're really glad to have you. First and foremost, I want to just let you know that Writable is an amazing platform that helps you as a teacher, as well as your students grow and become proficient in writing. And one thing that many of you may not know, especially if you're new to Writable, is that we are a team of many former educators. So that really is what sets us apart from other companies. We know exactly the spots that you're in. We've done a lot of teaching with writing ourselves. And so we never lose sight of, kind of the position you're in and do everything that we can to help our customers. With that, we have an amazing assortment of assignments that are ready to go that you can choose from and use as is, or you can design your own. We also have an amazing tools for feedback. So you'll see there, and we'll go through later on all of the features that we have that allow you to give your writers that meaningful feedback that help them grow. We integrate really nicely with different LMS systems you may have, such as Schoology, Canvas, or Google Classroom. And again, in addition to our assignments, the ability to give feedback, we also have assessments that you can use, whether they're formal or informal. So we want to make sure that you don't leave here today without having your account established and set up. So we want to take a minute and just show you how easy it is to get started and create an account. Teacher accounts are always free. And then once you start using with students and you bring your classes in, you will have 60 days for your trial. So what you notice there is that when you go to log in, and I think that we've put the address in the chat, you click on I'm a teacher, and I think we're going to kind of show you what that looks like. And when you do that, you can select Google or Microsoft. And then from there, there's some questions you may need to answer. They're very quick, and just get those answered relative to your grade band, your school, and then you'll be good to go. Here, this link that we're just on brings you to all the assignments that you can access when you're in Writable, again, over 600. And then Tess, I will give it to you to talk about how the trial works.
There we go. Yeah, so as Becky said, teacher accounts are forever free, and students get 2 months to try out Writable, which is a really nice period of time to get them writing, to see if it's a tool that you really are going to use. you shouldn't be using a tool that doesn't work for your students. So we want you to really understand if it's a right fit for you. And then once the trial begins, once students actually begin writing, so you can do as much prep and making assignments and getting ready before they write as you want to. And then you will see a countdown clock appear in your teacher account once your students start writing. But even if you never purchase student licenses, the student work will never be lost from your free teacher account. You'll still have access to assignments and be able to prep. So there's really no harm in trying it out. So it's pretty easy to really get started. Writable is pretty feature heavy. And the reason that it's very feature heavy is we want to be a one-stop shop. You don't need to have other tools to make sure that your students are growing as great writers, and you don't need to go other places to find your curriculum or to have feedback or to record video or all the things that you can think of that you might want to have going on while you're teaching writing. But it's really good to start small the first time that you're using Writable, and then add more types of feedback and get more comfortable. So I'm just going to go through 6 quick steps that you can go through to successfully use Writable. So step 1 is really important, is that you set a learning goal. And the reason that you might set a learning goal is so that you know what the first thing you're wanting to accomplish with Writable is. There's so many things you can accomplish, but we do hear that these are some of our common learning goals. I know, Becky and Kara are with their customers every day, and so it might just be increasing and improving the feedback that you give your students, or assigning them regular writing practice. Maybe you want to just get them writing more, or advance their writing growth and measure how they're performing. Maybe it's improving assessment scores or preparing for assessments that are coming up, working on a specific skill, or simply unifying writing standards for instruction by using a rubric that you're familiar with. Maybe you're trying to get other teachers on board with using a similar rubric. All of these things can be a single goal that you might start out with in Writable. And step 2 is simply you're going to choose and maybe customize or create an assignment. So Writable has over 600 assignments and prompts, and we are adding more all the time. We think it's really best to get students comfortable with the program and to get yourself comfortable with the program is to start with a short assignment, like a paragraph or a quick write. You can also take a quiz to find out and get directed into the exact assignments that you might want to start with. So I'm just going to click right over into our library. You can see this is what happens when you log in, is that you have filters on the left-hand side. So you can choose your grade level, you can choose a genre, and then you also have all of these collections. And these collections are where assignments are going to live. So I opened right into quick writes and response to readings. So you'll see a lot of paragraphs and opinion quick writes in here. You see it by informational, argumentative, narrative. You can see it by grade band. Some of these have readings attached to them. So the first thing you want to do is find an assignment you'd like to use if you would like to use one of ours. And you're literally just going to, look at it if you want to see what it looks like. You can see what it's going to look like for a student over here. You can see the rubric. You can see the reading, you can see where the writing is going to be. And I'm just going to copy this to my assignments. And I'm going to go manage assignment. And there I am right there, right in my assignment. I can edit it, I can look at it again, and I can assign it. We're back over here. You can also take this quiz. So you can choose how you might want to grow great writers. It's going to talk to you a little bit about what these are, and then it'll send you right into the path to find your assignment. So that's an option as well. The slide deck links are all in the resource guide if you are looking for those. So every aspect of an assignment is customizable. We saw that edit button. And I like to say it's good to make a couple small adjustments when you are supporting specific student needs. Maybe you're going to switch out the rubric, or maybe you're going to record an instructional video, or maybe you're going to edit the prompt a little bit. That's really easy to do, or you can make your own assignment with a really simple prompt. Maybe you have an assignment you've already been using and you just want to put it into Writable and save it there. So I'm going to exit out of this and show you what's going to happen if I click the edit button. So, I might add video instruction and record or upload a video right inside Writable. I might manage the prompt. So here I can edit the prompt, I can add readings, I can, differentiate. There's so many things you can do. I might add graphic organizers. But again, it's really great to start small. So these assignments are built to be ready to go for you. So you can really save time on your prep. Now, another thing you can do is create an assignment. So I said, if you have a prompt in mind, you can click here. It's also on the Explore. You can say create assignment right here. And you'll see it pops up this wizard, and you choose the type of assignment that you want to make. It's going to tell you what steps it's going to take you through. And it's going to help you create a really pedagogically sound assignment very quickly. So you can copy and paste in a reading. Maybe you saw a really great New York Times article this morning. You can upload your rubric. Again, there are so many options, but I think it's best to really start small so we can go right into my assignments and see that assignment that I copied right there. And I can click on it and get right back to that screen with the edit, the preview, and the assign button. So step 3, we're going to talk about creating or syncing your classes. Now, this is why, you're going to get your class going and logged into Writable. And it's really as simple as creating a join code for your students if you want to start that way. You can also sync your Google Classroom rosters. And we work with a lot of LMSs like Becky mentioned earlier, Schoology, Canvas, Microsoft Teams. Those do require often admin setup within your LMS. So when you're just starting Writable, creating a join code or syncing your Google Classroom roster are the fastest way to really get going. So I'm going to jump right in here. I'm going to click classes right at the top of my screen. You can see I can create a class. I can name it, select my grade, create, and it's that easy. I've got a join code. I've got a link that I can send to my students. And you can see it right here, period 1. There's that join code. There's that link. I can also just click import Google Classes. And you can see I've got some classes I haven't imported yet. So I'm just going to go like that. And my roster is imported. It's really that simple. And then I can assign directly to the classroom stream. And that way students don't even have to go to writable.com to log in. Step 4 is assigning the assignment. So we're going to go right back in, and I want to talk a little bit about the options that it's going to ask you when you assign an assignment, because you don't just click assign. You're going to choose who you want to assign it to. Maybe it's multiple classes, maybe it's one class or group. You're going to choose if you want to send it to the Google Stream. If you are using Classroom, you're going to choose how you want your students to write and respond. Maybe you just want them to record an audio response or a video response. Maybe you want them to have multiple types of media available to them. Maybe they're really comfortable using Google Docs, and so you want to have them start writing in Google Docs that are embedded within Writable. So those are things you can do. And you're also going to choose your feedback type. Now, we have a lot of feedback engine pieces: self-review, peer review, teacher grading, AI-powered grading. But it's really good to start small. So pick one type of feedback to try first. Get your students comfortable using rubrics, get yourself comfortable using them, and then you can really add on other types of feedback. I'm going to go into my assignment again. I'm going to click assign, and I'm going to either assign to me. So this is a really great option if you just want to see what it looks like as a student, is you can actually assign it to yourself and then go in as a student and practice writing. But I'm going to go in and assign it to the middle school social studies, which is that Google Classroom class I just added. Now I'm going to say, let's do student choice. And maybe I just want to do some self-review on this assignment so that they go through the process of looking at the rubric, not just as they write, but it guides them through making sure after they've written that they feel like they're in alignment with what your standards were. You can see it's now assigned. And then I'm going to, open my dashboard, and I can see how the progress of my students during the assignment. So we're going to talk a little bit about guiding and grading here. So Writable was built to save you time in giving feedback and in grading. And so we know research shows that better feedback is the key to growing great writers. Every school, every classroom, every student needs a different type of feedback, perhaps. Maybe some students respond better to video feedback or casual feedback in a conversation. Maybe they are more responsive to peer feedback. Maybe they really like on-demand feedback. And so again, with so many options, we're going to start small. You saw I just chose self-review, and I'll probably do a little bit of teacher feedback as well. And so when might you use these types of feedback? Well, for teacher grading, comments are a really valuable feedback type, and you might grade or guide based on your rubric. So maybe you're just giving feedback, or maybe you're scoring. Live feedback is a really great tool for in the moment conferencing. So you can actually see your students live writing in Writable and go in and send them some feedback or ask questions. Self-review is really for reflection, to slow down, to build their agency and learn new skills. Peer review builds on that self-review skill and emphasizes the process of guiding based on a rubric, exposing students to other students' writing, and it makes the assignment more formative. And then we also have a suite of AI-powered feedback. So originality check if you are checking for plagiarism or authenticity, or just trying to teach digital citizenship skills and cite sources properly. Revision Aid gives automatic on-demand feedback and revision recommendations. So that helps build independence earlier. It gives the teacher a higher quality piece of work when they turn it in. It's really focused on organization and structure. And then grammar is really great if you're polishing up an assignment, or the focus of the assignment is perhaps not grammar instruction, so you want them to have that grammar support as they're writing. So you can see in here there is many filters that teachers actually have when they're giving feedback. And so maybe you have 5 minutes to give your most needed students some feedback, and Writable is going to tell you who those students are. So if I were to go into my assignments and let's click on an active assignment, I can see that I've got one student who's on watch, and I've got one student who is doing great and is on target and was recently logged in. This is where I would give them some live feedback if I wanted to do that. I can see how much they've written. I can see their score that I've given them, that they've given themselves, the peers have given them, that Revision Aid has scored them, and then their authenticity score. And then their grammar score will appear here very shortly. And then as well as an overall class, I can see how they're doing by category, skill, standard, and Revision Aid. So if I were to go in and look at their writing, this is what my grading stack would end up looking like if I started grading and filtering. And you can just, toggle between submissions as a teacher, look at what all those reviews are, use, Revision Aid if you want to see what the feedback said. And really, it's great, especially if you are used to having to open a million tabs or write comments over and over again. This is going to save you a lot of time. So the final piece is to explore writing growth. So, the final step is not just getting your students writing, but improving their writing and seeing where you might create interventions, or you might have really great feedback to share with colleagues or parents or teachers on how students are growing. And Writable allows for that. So as feedback is given based on those rubrics, actionable data populates. We saw that in that assignment dashboard we were looking at. And it's also in reports, so you can measure progress over time by category, by skill, or by standard. You can see how students are progressing during an assignment and create those timely interventions. You can see how students or classes or whole schools are progressing over time, especially if you're working on assessments or working on a unified rubric. That's really helpful. So if we were to go into reports, I'm just going to click in here. I'm going to create a report. I'm going to say, here is our fall and another assignment. And you can see how my students have progressed over time. We can see who's on watch, on target. If I wanted to export this data or share it with others, I could. But really, it's as simple as it's just looking at the data when you first start and getting familiar with that data. So again, this is what an assignment dashboard looks like. This is where you're going to grade and monitor your class during an assignment. This is what some reporting data is going to look like if you do want to create reports. And this is what we really look at our success loop as. You find that assignment, or if you create that assignment, you add your students, you assign the work, they start writing, and then you guide and grade. And you repeat this loop over and over again. And that's how you really start to create writing growth. And that's, again, where those reporting features come in handy, because you can see it really happening and you can show others, what's working, or identify what might need some additional support. So Becky and Kara are support and professional learning queens. They have created an amazing system of support within Writable, and I would love for them to share how we support you as a team, because you're not alone when you're using Writable. We are literally there all the time to help you out, whether it's on-demand support or live chat. We really can help you not just with technical questions, but pedagogical questions, or if you have questions about creating curriculum, we're there.
Our resources, as Tess mentioned, that's kind of where Kara and I come in. We offer professional development, and we're happy to meet with you if you have questions or need further training once you get started. Tess has this amazing quick start guide that you'll be able to access in the resource doc. It really gives you those simple steps that she highlighted and went over. And we'll again put that in the chat for all of you so you can grab that. But that is really going to be kind of a nice guide on the side for you as you get started, because I know all of you created your free account at the start of this session. So we're really interested for you to get going. And again, that guide will be really helpful. One thing that is really important for you to know when you do log in, there's a question mark up by your name. That question mark is full of power and information at your fingertips. You will notice that we have a variety of topics that align to the different features that are available in Writable. So anytime you need directions, you're wondering how to do something, you can click on that question mark, find the topic that you're looking for. You can read an article. It may have a video associated with it as well. And if you're still stuck, blocked, have a question, need something, you'll notice we have a chat with us button that you can access by going to that question mark. And that's where we have our former educators are also staffed in chat. They love to help. They're timely, responsive. So anytime you need something, go there and they will work really quickly to help you move you forward. And that is usually staffed 7 a.m. Eastern to about 7 Eastern in the evening, so about 12 hours a day, and then occasionally on the weekends, if we see that somebody needs urgent help, we never want anyone stuck with students or as a teacher. And then another great doc that we have available, we have all these amazing resources. This would be a guided tour. So this is a little bit deeper than that quick start guide, but this really goes in more depth when you are doing each of these steps. So again, really helpful for you to grab those resources. They're all in the doc. And that we shared that resource doc attached here in the chat. And again, the last thing that we want to highlight and give a shout out to is this Writable Academy. So this is a page that you can find, and on it we host all of the webinars that we've hosted previously, as well as advertising and letting you know when we have new sessions that you can sign up for. Some of them are around 30 minutes. Sometimes it's a come learn learn, listen, and sometimes it's a hands-on, we're doing this together and you're following along and leaving the session with something created that you can go and use. Again, if you want to access this today, you certainly can. It's also full of other information that will help you. Blogs, lead you to our blogs, our podcasts, all sorts of helpful information.
So again, you can download the resources that we share today at this bit.ly link, where all the documents we mentioned are linked. If you want to schedule a meeting with us or book a quick demo, you can use this link as well, which is also in the resource guide. If you are curious about pricing and quotes, Writable is used by over 10,000 schools and districts, and we are the most affordable writing program, especially for the features offered, and the most comprehensive. So you can look there as well. And you can also just always get in touch by emailing hello@writable.com. And again, one final tip is that another great way to share time on prep is by sharing assignments or assessments or rubrics with your colleagues. There's multiple ways to do that in Writable. You can either share a direct link to an assignment that you've made, or we have something called My District, which allows you to share within a group of teachers within your school or district. So it's great to try Writable as a group. So invite your colleagues or your friends along, share assignments with each other, and start saving time and finding some really cool stuff in there. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining. It was such a pleasure to have you today, and I hope to see you guys inside Writable.